Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Aetna Life Live. My name is Alexis. I'm the director of the Aetna Community Organization. Here with Robert, one of ECO's board members.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing this week?
How are you, Robert? Are you doing good?
I'm doing okay. Thanks to your successful collection of some produce boxes, we had to work extra hard this week. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for everyone out there for bearing with us and getting a little bit of a later start tonight. Just working through some things as we always do with this platform, but we're here and we're excited to be here. This is our 9th episode of the series. We launched this initiative in the early days of COVID, to provide a platform for us to stay connected, to share stories, to support our local business community. If you've tuned with us before, you've heard me say this every episode. But since that time, we've been able to hear stories from 10 local business owners, 11 including tonight, and 8 community members, 9 including tonight. And, last week we were saying how this is going to be a really just interesting and incredible time capsule to look back and see what life was like during this time. You have any reflections on that, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting a sort of better understanding of the businesses in town in a way that, we were friendly, but I've definitely heard so much I'd never heard before. So that's what I've appreciated so much about it.
Yeah, me too. If you didn't get a chance to tune in or watch any previous episodes, you're able to rewatch all of the videos on our Facebook page as well as on our YouTube channel by searching Aetna Community Organization. So tonight is actually our second to last episode of Aetna Life Live. It's our last set of interviews. Next week, we're going to be closing out the series with a reflection of the past episodes. But tonight, for our last set of interviews, who do we have, Robert?
Well, we have invited on the wonderful family behind Pollak's Candies. So we'll be hearing interviews from them. And then we're also going to speak with Kendra Clarke, who's a board member, and just kind of sharing out more history and futures for ECO and what we think community engagement is going to look like in the next phase.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear from both.
Yeah, Alexis, I was just down with Allison and Joyce at Dinners for Neighbors.
Yeah.
And they actually have an idea to what we'll do the week after this ends.
Okay.
So I think there's an opportunities, we are looking for those ideas that do allow us engagement, keeping it fresh and, trying new things. So the idea is to have a live stream sketching session, and there's going to be maybe some live music and other opportunities that go along with it. So
that'll be fun.
Maybe more of, just fun, experiential. They're excited to have Joyce draw, and Allison will narrate, and maybe we'll have some live music as well.
That'll be awesome. And I think, just overall, just like you said, we're looking for creative ways to engage. This is why this Aetna Life Live series exists, because we had to more creatively think about how we can stay connected. So always definitely thinking of fun and creative things to keep connected and, tell good stories.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think before maybe we get to the interviews, we can share a few updates.
Okay, great. Yeah. So do you want to share, were you thinking maybe the first thing would be excellent to hear more about the donation from the American Heart Association?
Yeah, so I can explain this. So the American Heart Association, I guess, received a grant or has a grant with the USDA where that the U.S. Department of Agriculture to work with local produce distributors to get fresh produce to communities in need. So Sharpsburg was originally approached with this, and then it extended to include the Triborough, Millvale, Aetna, and Sharpsburg. So today was the first day that produce was able to be distributed to our communities. Monteverde Produce is a local produce distributor in southwestern PA, I believe southwestern PA. So they delivered, oh gosh, like a few hundred boxes of produce. Yeah, I think I heard over all they had like 8,000 boxes of produce they were packaging and distributing around the region. So really big order. But for us, they dropped off produce boxes at Roots of Faith in Sharpsburg, and so there were 40 designated for our community. So I went this morning and picked them up when Roots of Faith was open this morning, and I dropped some off at Bread of Life Food Pantry. I coordinated with Alexis Weber how many boxes she wanted for this first time. You know, there were some unknowns about like what was going to be in the boxes and how by people, but it ended up actually being a really beautiful and like healthy, fresh bounty of produce. It was pretty awesome.
It was amazing. I don't think I've ever come back from the grocery store with produce looking as good as this box had, or as much. I mean, it was really, it was a bounty, and it was a heavy box.
Yeah, I think they were 20 to 30 pounds. So the idea was that each box had enough produce in it to provide for one family for a full week. And I would say probably a family of 4. I don't know the
yes.
amount. Yeah, so it was a decent amount of food. But in addition to the boxes dropped off at Bread of Life Food Pantry, the rest were distributed out tonight at Dinners for Neighbors. So I know you were there, so maybe you can share how that went.
Sure. Every week, just kind of the support that we have to do this program is incredible. We have Police Chief Tim Rodman helping with traffic. Etna Fire Department allows us to use Fugue Hall. We have Mayor Tom there assisting us. We're there with Etna Prince Circus, and we've gradually gone up from 47 to 150 to 162 to 170, and then to 200, and now we're at 300. And that's probably the right number. That's how many people are that want to be a part of this program. And it's also incredibly beneficial to our businesses that we're supporting. We're actually now doing 250 at an Etna business and 50 with a neighboring business. And so tonight we went to Gino's for 50 for the Etna Commons, which was our first drop off. And then we did 250 at Fugue Hall with Porky's. And Porky's had, it's very hard to be down there because you're smelling this delicious food the whole time, and you're working really hard. So that's part of it, this envy for the beautiful and well-cooked meals that we have down there.
Yeah, so I'm happy that worked out, the number increase as well as the produce boxes.
Yeah, just to wrap up the produce boxes one, they were a surprise in a way, and just the joy that the produce boxes, both their quality and scale, it was awesome, Alexis. So great job on that.
Thanks, and really thank you to Sharpsburg. Thanks, Brittany Reno, Sharpsburg Neighborhood Organization, for leading that, and for the Tri-Borough for the partnership where we're able to provide for all of our communities. So it's really great.
Absolutely. Well, do you think we're ready for the interview?
Yeah, let's transition into them.
Okay. All right. I'm going to slide off, and then here we go.
Okay. Hi. I don't. We can't hear you. Do you have your
anything?
Hello? Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. The family who runs Pollak's Candies right now. Can you provide a brief introduction to yourself before we get into the other questions?
I'm Beth Widener from Pollak's, and this is my brother,
Dick Pollak.
Thank you so much for joining us. So you're part of the Pollak's family, and Pollak's is a third-generation owned business. So can you kind of explain the story behind your family business? Like, how did it start? How did it end up locating in Etna?
Yeah, our grandfather was an orphan, and he was in an orphanage, and he was taken in by a gentleman who made candy when he was 12 years old. So basically at that time, I would have to think it was kind of like an indentured servitude, so to speak. So of course he had to work for his keep, and he learned the candy business. And as he grew and got older, he became partners with the man who took him in. And then they had some business problems and I guess some personal problems. And he went out on his own and he started making candy. So that's how Pollak's Candy started.
Oh, that's so interesting. Like how he got into that, you know, it was almost just by chance that he ended up with that person who inspired him to create candy.
Right.
So is he from Etna? Is that how the business located in Etna, your grandfather?
Yeah. Yeah. They were from Etna in Sharpsburg.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I believe that my grandfather, it would have been Sharpsburg because that's where the business was located that
Mm-hmm.
the man who took him in. So
Yeah.
um, and I guess they moved that, and then
When the bridge, the bypass went in,
Mm-hmm.
Route 28 was built, they were uprooted and moved to Etna.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
48.
yeah, we say, he started Pollak's Candy in 1948. So
Yeah.
at that time, he was also working in Spang's Mill
Mm-hmm.
and trying to get a business off the ground. So
Mm-hmm.
he was quite
Wow.
an amazing man.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. And so now you two own and run the business, correct?
Right.
Right.
So how did that happen? How did you, what was the decision behind like continuing with the family business?
Well, it was kind of bred into us.
Yeah. Right.
We've always been involved. Our parents or our
Mhm.
grandparents, and then my dad and our mother was involved, and then we just kind of took it over as it
Yeah.
evolved
It,
into us.
so we've been working at it since we were young children. You can
Mhm.
imagine a family business, and it just keep just transitioned. That's all.
Yeah.
It was just kind of the normal way of life for our family, I would say.
Mhm.
Now our kids are involved too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll continue it on?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. There's 72 years of experience, that we have here.
Yeah.
We're very proud of that. So
Mhm.
we would love to see it go on to the fourth generation.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know everybody else who loves Pollux would like to see that too. So, what, my own curiosity, what is the chocolate making process like? And, you don't have to share secrets or anything like that, but just in general, like, what does it look like? And on a scale of yours, how does that work?
Well, we're still small,
Yeah. Okay.
compared to a lot of people, and I like to look at it as the candy making process.
Hmm.
It is, the chocolate, uh, the piece that you're covering in chocolate,
Hmm.
and the process actually hasn't changed very much since 1948, believe it or not. So we start everything from scratch. You
Hmm.
know, uh, my grandfather said from a bag of sugar. So, and there's no cake mixes or something you can add water to that's available out there. And
Hmm.
a lot of people do that, but we start from the beginning. The raw materials: sugar, corn syrup, cream, butter, and
Hmm.
we do it the way the craft has always been done.
Hmm.
So uh, our candy's a step back in time.
Yeah.
Um, I'd say it's made and with a lot of pride,
Hmm.
and we passion
Hmm.
for it, and that all mixes together to make
Yeah.
our product.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I hear the saying and the phrase a lot, like made with love. And I think, made with pride, made with love, made with a family spirit. I think it really does impact the food and just the experience of eating it. And in your case, your candy and chocolate. And I think, that's why one of probably the many reasons why your business is so loved in the community, and yeah, why the chocolate is so good still.
Right.
We take pride in what we put out there, and our name goes out on everything, so we try to do it right.
We always say, we make our candy. We don't manufacture it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to. That's a
Each
good way
piece is hand decorated with a color or something, that so we know what that piece is, which isn't done anymore. A lot of things we do aren't done by anybody, as far as our decorating and the way we make things, and so we take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so earlier you noted that part of the reason why the business was located in Etna was because of the construction of the bypass, the Route 28 bypass, correct?
Right.
And I know, just thinking of Etna's history overall, Etna's gone through so many changes as a community, and what related to industry and economy and jobs. What has it like from your and your business's perspective? What has it been like to experience those different changes since Pollak's has been around, and how has your business maintained its place during that time?
Well, from the beginning, we don't know what it was like in
Sure, maybe
1948.
not you, your heroes weren't there,
We're not that old, but
He
well,
looks it, but
we always had a strong commitment from the local Etna people, and at one time we had just a small shop that was located up on Prospect Street, and that's where a lot of the Etna local people came. And I guess in the 70s, when at the beginning of the big malls,
Mm,
you know, our father and mother, you know, stepped into that and moved, opened retail locations. And well, the first one was in North Hills Village Mall, and then Ross Park Mall, and and malls were thriving at the time, and I guess and the small towns were starting to die, I guess, because of it. But we see we see it turning around. We see it coming basically maybe full circle. So we decided to come home, back that, and I don't know how many years, Beth.
I think we've been here 9 years now, and on Light Up Night, this coming Light Up Night will be 9 years. We've been back in Etna as a retail storefront here.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
we love it here. We're so happy that we came back here.
yeah, probably one of the best moves we've made.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really good to hear. And I see, the sentiment too, that the small town is coming back. And I think Etna in particular is a very resilient town, and is able to really bounce back from whatever is thrown at it. So it's great to see your storefront. I've certainly enjoyed, in our when we were able to gather back in those days as a community, every month when Eco would host a community meeting, I would come in and grab a platter of Pollak's chocolates, and that was one of the best, most looked forward to things, I think, at our community meetings for everyone. You see the Pollak's chocolate, and everyone got excited. So
That's good to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, in this present moment, COVID-19 has been another serious, time that everyone has had to really figure out how to navigate. How did COVID-19 originally impact your business, and how did you have to take steps to adjust, or how have you guys worked through that?
We definitely had to make some changes. We were an open storefront here. Plus, we have fundraising as our biggest Easter sale. So we we converted the store to window shopping and curbside pickup. We did a lot through Facebook, and we're still doing it now. Facebook, Instagram, in window shopping. People are loving window shopping. I tried to get it all out in the window and make it look nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so do you feel like that's been just successful or helping you all able to, maintain operations?
We're surviving. Yes, it's
Yeah.
kept us going, and
Yeah.
we're thankful that
Mhm.
we have what we have right now. Yes.
Mhm.
I think that the current situation might even drive people towards a small town even more.
Mhm.
When we see uh, how much people enjoy looking in the window at our
Mhm.
products,
Mhm.
that you don't have that very in too many places
Yeah.
anymore. And we kind of see it as maybe a window into the future of what might be.
Yeah.
Especially in Etna, because Etna has the potential
Mhm.
to be a wonderful shopping district.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Me too. Absolutely.
Y'all are, huh?
Yeah. Now, I know very recently, Allegheny County has transitioned into the yellow phase of, I guess, of the phased reopening of COVID-19. So, can you walk us through what that means for you and your business and how things are starting to change again?
We were deemed essential the whole during the whole process. So we've
Mhm.
kind of the yellow phase kind of hasn't changed us. We're still curbside
Mhm.
shopping and
Mhm.
window shopping. We're
Mhm.
not yet opening the store for people to
Mhm.
come into, but
Yeah.
we're um we're here.
Mhm.
we're we're serving candy from the door.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, well, that's good to hear. I know the phased reopening has impacted people in different ways. In some ways, like you said, a lot doesn't change, or nothing really changes that so much. But I know for others, it has maybe of a bigger impact. But that's good to hear that you're still, able to continue your curbside operations, and anyone out there can place call-in orders, correct, to pick
We're
up candy. Yeah.
call and we take it to the car. You just have to pull over anywhere and we'll get it to you. I don't even have to find a parking spot.
Yeah, great. Um, so, maybe thinking a little bit in the future now, how do you see Etna's business community kind of recovering? And you maybe alluded to this a little bit, just in, talking about resiliency and the town having a lot of potential. But how do you see Etna's business community recovering? And, the second part, are there any, specific ways in which you would like to see support for Etna's business community going forward?
What was that last question?
Oh, sorry. Are there any ways that you would like to see support for Etna's business community? Um,
Support from.
like our community organization, we're trying to support and promote the different businesses in Etna. We're not going to be able to run Etna Life Live for too much longer. So we're always trying to think of creative ways to support the business community. And I know just in general, like, are there things that you think um, are needed to help businesses recover and advance forward beyond COVID-19, or just thinking in that way?
I just think as we need to get businesses into the district, and Etna does
Hmm.
a great job supporting the
Hmm.
businesses that are here.
Hmm.
We're very fortunate to be in this area.
Hmm.
I think the events
Hmm.
that Etna holds, Light Up Night, for instance.
Hmm.
Um,
Streetscape.
yeah, you know, if we could do them more to bring people here to
Hmm.
maybe see what the borough has to offer
Hmm.
would be very helpful. It
Yeah.
would be helpful to attract a business.
Yeah.
Catch somebody's attention, and
Definitely.
usually when they have special events, business is always better. So
Hmm.
so I think that's one way.
Yeah, we can certainly think about that, and maybe who knows what life is going to be like down the road, but at least in the near term, a socially distant and safe events if that's possible.
Right. Yeah, I'm talking once this social distancing's over.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Which I believe it'll be over eventually.
Yeah.
So
maybe just to wrap it up, part of our way to help support businesses on Aetna Life Live is, we've been able to support each business owner who comes on with a donation to their business, assembled from some donors. So the Triborough Eco District, the Garden of Aetna, an anonymous donor, and the EEDC. But Beth, you said to me that you were just right away like, no, you should give this back to something, an initiative in the community.
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe touch on that just briefly?
We're so fortunate that Aetna has been so great to us that we would rather see it go to the food, the Wednesday night dinners or food drive, anything
that helps the community, that helps us.
No, that's so very appreciated. It's so gracious, and so that we'll be able to help support our Dinners for Neighbors program going forward. So thank you so much for that. That's so kind of you.
Thank you.
And, before we transition off, do you have any final message for the community and everyone out there?
Really, we want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts. Aetna is really does a great job to support us, and we appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we've been a part of Aetna for a long, long time, and since day one, the residents have been there, so we appreciate it.
We love being part of Aetna.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was so interesting and great to hear your story and everything you have going on. So thank you for being here. Robert's going to hop on and make the transitions, and then we'll hear from our next guest. So thank you both so much. It was a pleasure having you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hey. I can't hear you.
Okay. I mean, it's almost like 100%, 10 out of 10 on the mute when I come back. So I'm doing really good at that. Yeah. So that was an amazing interview. And I think the thing that comes out in each of them is how much each person puts in of their own life and their own heart into their business. Yeah. And not having spoken to as many business owners in this exact way, I've it should be obvious, but it's more real when you're actually seeing it and you're hearing these stories. So great job with that. What were some of your reflections?
Oh, I just, I was struck at the beginning, their grandfather's story, even of just randomly being put with somebody who, as an orphan, was somebody who makes candy, and like whoever would have known that it would have become a third generation business. And yeah, I think that and the sentiment of like really putting in just so much emotion into what they do, and passion and pride and love. And it really, I think, comes through in the chocolate and the resulting candies for sure.
Absolutely. And there's also, I heard there's a care and craftsmanship. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another theme for business owners, especially those that are making the sort of the source material. There's just such a care and craftsmanship that you have just think about it. You have your name on the product, and you want that product to be the best it possibly can.
Yeah.
But Alexis, did you the big chocolate bunny question?
I forgot. Chocolate bunny. Well, I'll just say that before Beth and Dick mentioned that they have this big 3-foot tall chocolate bunny and it's hollow, because if it wasn't, it would be 150 pounds. I'll just leave it at that. They have a big bunny. You can order one by calling them.
It's a famous piece that Mayor Tom wanted to learn more about. So we'll have to get that story. We'll have to get that story another way. So Alexis, do you think it's next is I should bring on Kendra?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, great. And we'll talk afterwards.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi, Kendra. How are you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I got your unmute as I was bringing you on.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes. As Alexis mentioned earlier, I help out as a board member for Aetna Community Organization. And I've been a part of the Aetna community for almost 4 years now. It's a really great community to be a part of, so I feel very lucky and fortunate to be here.
Yes, I feel that too. And then could you describe just kind of like, just take me back to when you were moving here and your process for getting involved?
Shortly after I had moved here, I heard more about the initiative in Millvale and the community efforts that had grown there. So I'd hoped to be able to contribute in a similar initiative, community engagement projects to improve communities in our region as well. So it's just really great timing to then be able to have a hand and a part in Aetna's community organization.
Yeah, and I'm getting. Is that coming through for you too?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, I think that's just on my end every once in a while. Sorry about that. So one of the things that I just kind of wanted to, just we'll talk a little bit more about the community engagement, but just from a day to day, you're also in the construction industry, and which has seen a lot of changes and is going through a lot. Can you talk a little bit about how construction, which is I think all resumed in Pennsylvania, how that's ongoing for in your perspective?
Yeah, I think as an industry as a whole, we've witnessed significant impacts to supply chain and ability to source materials and manpower, delays, and just other things that can be really detrimental to any project or any industry. The project that I've been working on, it was initially ordered to stop operations along with all of the construction projects in the state. And that was something that the industry had really never experienced before. But the project that I'm working on, it's a construction of a healthcare facility. So it was granted the opportunity to continue construction with the other exempt emergency and healthcare industry projects. So that enabled us to implement additional safety measures to keep project team members working safely. And it's also really helped us to learn and be better prepared for the ongoing revisions to the state shutdown order and just, future preparation.
Yeah. I know that you're doing. You have both. You have an office-esque type job, and you're also in the field. I'm also bordering on. Sometimes I'm in the office, sometimes I'm in the field, and so there are industries that are we're neither deemed essential or non-essential, and so we're kind of straddling that kind of that difficult gap of like we still have to find a way to keep the essentials going, right? And so it's been
we're really dependent on many different efforts and many different organizations and businesses.
Exactly. So so kind of going forward, are you seeing that construction has a better pathway forward now that we're kind of at least 2 weeks back into construction?
Yeah, it has definitely taken a while to kind of get back on our feet and get back into the routine and the rhythm. There's definitely disruptions to availability of materials and being able to schedule different types of work. But we're getting back into a rhythm, which has been positive.
Yep, absolutely. So just kind of transitioning back to Aetna, as one of the board members, and you talked a little bit about getting involved and seeing the Millvale model, but can you talk about some of those early Aetna Eco District pieces and the community meetings that kind of drew you in and what you were seeing there that made you want to stay involved?
I think a major theme for me was gathering, having people gather together after the first meeting or the first of the Aetna Eco District Education Series. It was something that I really looked forward to month to month, and that created a rhythm in life in a period each month to come back together and gather, learn from each other, and then set goals for the next month.
Yeah, what I miss about that particular project is that as it gave people who they might wave to each other on the street, they might see each other passing in a restaurant, but they wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity to sit down and discuss. So through that, we met close to 300 different people that are in our community, and that's what I kind of walk away with and go, wow, there would have been no other way for people, people like us who moved here to really get a great understanding, really get to know some people.
It definitely allows for a lot of connections and a lot of very different paths to cross.
Yeah. So now to counter that, what are you experiencing now that we had our May meeting canceled, our community meeting? What are you experiencing personally, and what do you think that the larger community is experiencing?
I think this has been a period of collective hardship, but as well as communities being collectively fortunate. It's definitely a new kind of hardship that the region is experiencing. It's teaching us other meanings of resiliency, which is an ongoing theme through the Eco District effort. Different ways to be resilient, how we can help others, how we can effectively communicate. We're all definitely learning different ways of communicating right now. Yeah. And ECO definitely has a role in implementing those plans, advocating for communities, partnering with organizations to increase impact. It's definitely a period where it's evident that ECO has already begun building an infrastructure and a network to implement plans quickly. And as we rebuild, we're learning that we'll be better positioned to respond to other, similar or different events in the future.
Yeah. And I think is so much of what we were doing before was gathering people and building off of momentum from a community meeting to getting people to go to a tree planting or a community meeting that led to a group that helped a project. And so without that piece of building, volunteer support, I really felt like that was our strength. And what are, I think, and I'm just going to go a little bit further. My strength is rather what I'm seeing is a major key point for Aetna right now is all the groups in communication and collaborating and acting as one. And I think that that's sort of historically how the community operates, but ever more so now. When we think about, strengthening our business district, what relief looks like for, the average citizen in the town, what recovery looks like. I think that needs to be a sort of holistic approach. And we do have these phone calls that are allowing us to collaborate across. And a lot of our solutions right now are in the moment, and we're going to be looking for some of those long-term ones. Have you thought about maybe something that, rather than something that's a 10-week program, something that's a sort of a 10-month program? What are the things that you'd like to see us start to do in a longer term?
I think we've definitely started to experience little parts of this. I mentioned before, from the original education series, that piece of gathering, or that point of gathering, and having that, being able to depend on that one night every month. And I think we're starting to experience that again with the dinners for neighbors that ECO has implemented. the posters that ECO has implemented that can be built upon for a longer period of time. But just kind of breaking bigger goals down into more manageable chunks can, make use of those efforts over time.
Yeah. You got to work on the project with Etna Print Circus. And could you talk about your experiences and reaction to seeing some of the posters in the community?
It's been really great. It's definitely a bright spot, getting to walk by different houses and seeing that those people are at least, they're gathering and they're communicating, and there's definitely an impact on members in the community.
Yeah, when I see one of those, there's it makes the houses that were opaque just somehow like relatable, and I go, oh, there's somebody in there that I just all of a sudden I know something about them. They that they cherish the artwork of Etna Print Circus, or they're reaching out and saying hello, and they're trying to connect. So that's what I found. That's what I find enjoyable about it. And most of the time I don't. I also love that I don't. You might not know the person's name inside, so it's kind of it's just another way of connecting in a way that we wouldn't otherwise do.
Yeah.
So now kind of just looking in more globally, what could we be doing, to build resiliency? Of course we have this eco district plan, but now we have a new layer that we never thought about before in terms of this health crisis. Mm-hmm. What are the new layers that are going to allow us to help build resiliency in a sort of post or concurrent COVID-19 world?
I think this has definitely been a period and an opportunity to learn more as a community, kind of learn about, what other potential risks there are to a community's resiliency. So that's a big part to start off.
Yeah. One of the things I'm thinking about is that the epidemic has made what was an underlying existing issue more visible. So one of those issues has been food, and our emphasis on food and wanting to address why is that an issue to begin with? It wasn't just the epidemic. It was always there. And so I think it's just, for me, I'm glad that those quality of life issues are relevant and are important. Mm-hmm. And so now kind of looking at, what you've seen over these at least 10 weeks, if not longer, what are some of the stories that you're going to look back and remember from this time period?
I was listening to you and Alexis discuss this a little bit earlier, but as these videos kind of serve as a time capsule of this time, there are definitely things from this time that I want to be able to remember in the future and want to be able to reference back to. So I've been taking some notes, every few days about things and different world events that strike me, that I want to keep a record of, or to try to keep a record of. So I'm hoping the stories that we remember are those that are positive. The communities helping each other and anyone in need, the values that we've embraced, how the arts have been promoted and valued, things like that. I've been really amazed by just the resourcefulness and adaptability and creativity of people and businesses and communities, like Pollak's adapting to window shopping again.
That's exactly the way too. I think I'll be looking back and remembering how people were creatively compassionate, and that just means there wasn't a playbook for us on how to do this, but people kept being inventive and trying new things. So that's I think that's what I'll remember more than anything. And I think anybody that's been affected by the virus or who's on the front line, that'll be their lens. So we'll have different memories. But as a community member who's not a frontline worker, mine is certainly the amazing, heroic, the heroic stories. So just kind of thinking about, we had a nice opportunity to talk about some eco past and eco present, and so I want to really thank you for coming on and sharing that, and for being a part of this organization and helping lead through the eco district process. I wondered if you wanted to leave us with any closing thoughts here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I think just kind of the biggest thing is that it's been a period to really evaluate what is essential to a resilient community. And so this is really positioning us to continue future efforts and growth.
All right. Well, thank you. So I'm going to bring back on Alexis. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, Alexis, how are you doing? Doing well. While I was speaking, did you hear feedback?
Just a little bit, but it wasn't.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know why that was happening. What did you think?
It's just what it is. I thought that was a really just so insightful and reflective thoughts from Kendra. And one thing that really struck me was, this is a time that we've been doing a lot. It's a period of doing, but it's also a period of learning. And I think that was so important. And that, as an organization who, beyond COVID, we'll be, thinking of projects and programs and, how to improve quality of life in Aetna. That's our core mission. We can never, ever, in the future, pretend like this period of time didn't happen. Like COVID, it will be great for everybody to get back to normal, life as normal, but like we won't ever be able to just move on without remembering and without really thinking critically about the lessons learned during this time. Because I think the lessons learned they just so much impact our future trajectory. And like you said, they really bring out and exacerbate those underlying issues that they just puts a spotlight on it. It's like, okay, this is what we have to really focus on. Yeah.
I just hope that, I'm just trying to imagine a world where we are continuing all the good things that we're doing, even as we say, go back to normal. Maybe like the new normal, as we've been talking about, the new normal is doing more, giving more. That could be a piece, and also a more health focus in the world, that we're doing things that are healthier, not just for us but for others. That's another aspect of this whole period. Many of us are concerned about us contracting the virus, but we're also really concerned about everyone else contracting it.
Yes. Yeah.
So next week, what we were thinking about doing was, pulling the three minutes from each of our past interviews and kind of bringing that as a sort of showcase of all-in-ones. So that's what we have to look forward to next week.
That'll be fun. I'm excited to look back and remember back when we started this in March.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we're going to say some things that, have said some things that may have been out of time, like, oh yeah, it'll be back to normal in 2 weeks. Yeah. So, anyways, I think we bring back on our guest, and then we end, right, Alexis? Or anything else? Okay. All right, here we go. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And all right, let's say goodbye here.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for being on. Thank you for watching, everyone out there.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.